Bartered but Loved, Chapter 1. Alexandra's Point of View. It has been 6 months since Kaylee went missing. In 3 weeks, it will be my 19th birthday. I was eager to celebrate my birthday far away from here, especially after what Eric and I discovered. One night when I was working at the pack house, I was able to get a memory stick, all of the files. They were encrypted. We managed to get paper copies of the files, too. Eric and I were home alone. It was sunset. With everything we had gathered together, it was time for me to leave. I wanted Eric to come with me, but he wouldn't. He wanted to stay and cover for me. I still want you to come with me.
I know, Lexi, but I want to stay behind and cover for you. It'll be safer if someone you can trust covers for you.
Fine. But you have to watch your back. Keith and Theodore are working with vampires. That is dangerous for them, let alone their families.
I know, but their dealings with the vampires are all over what we found. We even know that they were making sure you stayed pure so that they could give you to vampires when you turned 20. You need to leave. You're 19 in a few weeks. Hopefully you can find your mate far away from here.
Still disgusts me. I hate this. I hate having to leave you, I said, wrapping my arms around my brother for a hug. He hugged me back and said,
I know, but you need to do this. You can't stay here. It's not safe anymore.
Well, what do I take? I asked. He grabbed my duffel bag and said,
Put some clothes in this.
Before he gave it to me, he stuffed the paperwork and memory stick inside a shirt of mine before putting it at the bottom of the bag. I passed him clothes to put inside the bag. We were quiet while we packed my bag. So much had happened in the past few months. After Kaylee and her family disappeared, the disappearance increased. Almost half the girls in my class at school had disappeared along with their families. None of the houses were burnt down, but they had disappeared. We found paperwork and transactions of sales on she-wolves and werewolves. What they were being sold for was still a mystery. We did have drop of locations, though. Almost all males go to one location, but some were taken to another location. All the females were taken to a single location. We had emails and letters between Theodore Raven and Ivan Craven. I guess he was a vampire. Eric thought he might be a vampire, most likely some high-ranking vampire. We found out that Mom was right, that Theodore and Keith, my own father, were going to sell me when I turned 20 to that Ivan, sell me as a breeder to this vampire. There were plans to overthrow Blood Moon and the Lycan Council. Their plans seemed to be on schedule with the fact that 2 weeks ago vampires began attacking the Lycan Council. So it was now or never for me to leave and get to the Lycan Council for help. Show them what Theodore and Keith were up to with these vampires. Just as we finished packing the bag, the war howl sounded. The war howl was a howl that only the Alpha could do. It could only be heard by those in that Alpha's pack. We have to listen to the howl. There is no way around it. We had no choice to go to the pack house. I hated that he was making that howl now. Why is he sounding the war howl? I asked Eric.
James mind-linked me. We're under attack. Apparently Blood Moon attacked our idiot father and he retaliated. So now they're coming to attack us. We need to get down there.
I nodded. This isn't exactly how I saw this evening going. I buried the duffel bag under the bed, made sure it was well hidden. We left and headed towards the pack house. All 2,000 of the pack members were there. We headed straight to the front, where Tristan was waiting. Tristan looked worried and asked,
Do you know what's going on?
Yes, we do. But before I could continue, a very pissed-off Alpha Raven came out of the pack house. Our father was right beside him. Eric and I exchanged looks. We were waiting to see what lies he would spout to everyone. Eric and I would have to make our plan based on what the Alpha said next.
We are under attack. A Blood Moon member crossed our pack lands and attacked our Beta Blake while we patrolled our pack lands. The Blood Moon member ran off, wounded. We are now under attack from them. So all the elderly, women, and children must remain in the basement of the pack house until us men, anyone over the age of 16, will go to war. We will win and take over Blood Moon. Our pack will become the biggest in America. We could call all the packs. I want all the women and children to go down to the basement now. Any male over the age of 16, prepare to go to war.
Alpha Raven yelled out to us all. The women and children began saying their goodbyes to their mates, fathers, brothers, and sons. Our father approached us, and I immediately said, "Dad, I want to join the battle. I've completed my training. I'm one of your best warriors, and you know it."
No, you will stay here,
he replied. "With the women and children still think I'm that weak," I scoffed.
No, I don't think you're weak, but I will not let you fight. You need to stay here. You can be the last line of defense for the elderly, the women, and children. None of them can fight. They need protection,
he said. "Fine, I'll stay behind," I sighed. My biological father, the sexist criminal who is supposed to be a beta. He will never deserve that title. Eric pulled me in for a hug at that moment as he mind-linked me.
I know you want to fight, but take this opportunity to run. Once we're no longer in sight, run home, get the bag, then leave, and don't look back.
Zira was pacing inside my mind. She was sensing something. She shook her head.
We can't leave yet, but we can't stay behind.
What do you mean? I asked her.
It is just a feeling,
she said before lying down. I can't leave. Not until this battle is over. I have to know that you're alive. Zira won't let me go. She feels like we should be at the battle, I told Eric in the mind link.
All right, but you must stay here until we're gone, and then follow. Stay in the trees, hidden from everyone if you join the battle. Dad and the Alpha know exactly what color your wolf is. They'll be mad. I also know that they don't want any other pack to know that you're a white wolf.
Eric replied in the mind link. I don't care, but I will hide away in the trees the entire battle, unless you or Tristan need my help, I said.
Fine, but be careful.
He smiled. Tristan came over to us at that point, and he smiled, opening his arms, offering me a hug. I wrapped my arms around him and squeezed. He did the same. He leaned down close to my ear and whispered,
We need to talk after this battle. I need to tell you something important.
Oh God, I nodded at him before letting him go. I have suspected for some time that he had feelings for me, but he does know that I am waiting for my mate. I guess he's hoping that if he wins this battle, then I might see him in a new light. I couldn't love him. He just wasn't my type. My type was tall, muscular, and dark eyes and hair. A guy with a godlike build. Tristan was sweet, tall, and a good-looking guy, but I only ever saw him as a brother. I don't think I could ever see him in that way. I wanted to wait for my mate, whoever that may be. Zira always believed our mate would be someone of importance. Either way, I didn't care if he was or not. I wanted to find my fated mate. A voice came from behind me, almost making me jump out of my skin. But in truthful, the voice made me cringe.
Lexi, could I speak to you in private a minute?
We turn around to find the one person I hate more than anything else right now. James, the cheating, lying swine himself.
No, you really can't.
Tristan responded, trying to step between us. Tristan, it is okay. I can handle his cheating arse, I replied. James led me to the side of the pack house to speak to him. He came to a sudden stop, turned around, and slammed his lips against mine. Heartbroken, battered, but loved. Chapter 2. Alexandra's point of view. For a split second, all my feelings for him came rushing back, but my hatred for him prevailed. I shoved him as hard as I could away from me. He stumbled backwards. I was so furious that I slapped him. How fucking dare you? You cheated on me. Now you kiss me? I spat before turning on my heels and beginning to walk away. He grabbed my wrist and said,
Lexi, please, wait. If you ever once felt anything for me, then just listen to what I have to say.
Fine, but make it quick, I growled, glaring at him.
I'm sorry for kissing you. I just wanted to feel your lips again. I still love you. You mean everything to me. I want you to know that. If I survive this, I will never stop trying to make up for what I did. I tried to help before, but this time I will do better. I promise.
He said, his voice low. Was he seriously trying to woo me back to him? It won't work. I can't be with a guy who cheats and then lies to me about it. I growled. What do you mean you tried to help me before?
I found out what my father was doing after you broke up with me. I tried to warn Kaylee and her family. I told them to run, but my father got there first.
He whispered. It still doesn't change the fact that you texted me to come over, and when I get there, I find you screwing another girl. I growled.
I never texted you. I wouldn't have had sex with her or anyone for that matter, but the girl was in heat. I was powerless against that.
He said. Why the hell would I believe a word that come out of his mouth? Seriously. He's a cheating jerk. I wouldn't trust him ever again. I wouldn't have been there if you didn't. Maybe you just forgot. Either way, what makes you think I would believe a word that comes out of your mouth? Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to the people who actually do care about me. I retorted, yanking my wrist from his grip.
Lexi, please, I really did try to save your best friend. I still love you.
He said, I don't love you, and I will never believe you. One day soon I'll find my mate, and you'll be but a distant memory. I replied, walking away. I returned to the front of the pack house. Some of the women were beginning to filter inside and down to the basement. Many of the women were crying, and a lot of the children were wailing with tears streaming down their plump little faces. Eric came straight over to me and placed his hands on my shoulders, crouching down to my level. I'm 5'7" tall, but Eric is 6'4" tall, so there was a bit of a size difference. He asked,
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, I replied.
What did he do?
He pressed me. He kissed me. I shoved him away and slapped him. We talked. He lied some more. I'll tell you later, I said. He nodded.
All right, you say the word and I'll knock him out.
It is fine. I can handle him and his bullshit. I smiled.
We need to get you and the rest of the women and children into the basement in a moment, or Dad will drag you down there.
Eric said.
What did that arsehole have to say to you?
Tristan asked as he walked over to Eric and me. Short version, he was sorry and that he still loves me, and a bunch of other things which I think are lies. I replied.
Well, if a man truly loves you, then he would never cheat on you.
Eric said.
Not to mention that your sister's the most beautiful girl in the pack.
Tristan smiled. I shook my head before saying, Honestly, I'm fine. I'm waiting for my fated mate now. No one will change it.
Lexi, a word?
Dad called out. I nodded and headed over to him. Eric hovered nearby. When I reached Dad, he said,
You know that your mate isn't in this pack. I forbid you from leaving to look for him.
Well, Dad, you don't know what the outcome of this battle will be. Plus, you can't tell what the future will hold for any of us. Things may not go your way, especially if I have anything to say about it. I smiled at him.
What is that supposed to mean?
He growled, grabbing me. Oh, nothing, Daddy. I smiled sweetly. His eyes narrowed, glaring at me. I was trying so hard to be all sweet and innocent towards him, even though it made me want to vomit. I hate my father, but just to keep him from knowing that I know his plans. He was about to open and say something, but Alpha Raven called out.
We need to move. So everyone staying behind, get into the basement, now. You too, Alexandra.
Yes, sir. I mocked saluted him. I do like to push their buttons. I hate them both, so any chance to mock them I would jump at the chance. I ran off and started helping get all the women, children, and elderly. Eric and Tristan came over to give me a final hug. I could feel James's eyes on me. I waved goodbye to them and went inside. Everyone was downstairs, taking seats, huddling together. Some were even praying to the moon goddess, Selene. How long should we wait? I asked Zira in my mind.
I reckon we should wait 5 minutes just to be safe. Then we should run after them.
She replied. I agree, but we shouldn't shift until we have to, I said. I hadn't realized that I was pacing the entrance to the basement. The female doctor, Alice, came over to me and whispered,
Lexi, your pacing is scaring some of the kids. Come and sit down.
I can't sit down. I need to be out there, I whispered.
You can't. You are a woman. Women shouldn't fight.
She said. If they're pregnant, yes, I agree. But I'm not pregnant. I'm a warrior. I'm a fighter. I should be out there fighting alongside my brother. I replied.
But these women can't fight. They need your protection.
She responded. Their mates should protect them. The best thing for them to do is learn to defend themselves. The only way we will prove to those bonehead males out there that we can be warriors is if one of us goes out there and proves we can fight as well as them, I said.
You need to stay,
she commanded. Don't you try to stop me. I am the beta's daughter, I warned her. Before turning on my heels and headed for the door. I hated some of these women. They shunned me when I became a warrior. I wasn't seen as one of the ladies anymore. My mother was a warrior. Kaylee's mother is a warrior. She was my only female role model growing up. I'm a warrior. It is in my blood. The people in the basement called out to me, but I really didn't care what they said. I wanted to make sure my brother was okay. I also had this feeling like it was important for me to be there for another reason, a reason I couldn't quite put my finger on. I was so angry that they were trying to make me stay behind. I slammed the basement door behind me and headed for the front of the pack house. There was no one in sight. Everyone had gone. Zira smirked inside my mind.
We can do this. We can stay in the trees hidden until we need to move.
I know we can do this, but we should hurry, I replied. I sniffed the air and picked up their scent. I began to run in the direction the warriors had gone. Running through the woods was amazing. It was completely freeing to run through the woods like this. Soon enough, I could hear them, so I began to move slower, more quietly. I knew there was a clearing up ahead. That would be where they have chosen for the battle. I would have to go around and stay in the trees to watch the fight. I reached the clearing but remained hidden in the tree line so that the wolves from my pack would not see me. I scanned across the scene. All the wolves from my pack were being lined up in a battle formation. Not one I would use, that's for sure. It spread our lines too thin and showed our numbers, which weren't great. I slowly and quietly moved around to the clearing, remaining hidden within the trees. I was alert, and so is Zira. Her senses are far more heightened than mine. Though my senses are heightened in human form, Zira's are still stronger than mine. Every werewolf was the same, though with a lot of training, one could increase their already heightened senses. We had to be careful in case we came across rogues or came across members from Blood Moon who were trying to flank my pack's position. It wouldn't surprise me if they attempted to flank them. It is what I would do. We were downwind, so we could smell how close the Blood Moon members were. Though some were masking their scent, I could tell that much. Eric taught me to sense werewolves even if one sense is out of commission. Being werewolves, we rely heavily on our sense of smell, but he taught me to rely on my other senses and ignore smell, in case I go up against individuals that are masking their scent. I could tell that Blood Moon were close because they were running. I could feel the earth shake from their thunderous paws. I moved across the clearing. I could see exactly where my brother was in the line of wolves at the moment. I knew that would change when the battle began. I arrived at a tree that was parallel to the center of the clearing. It was the perfect tree. The branches were low enough for me to climb if I needed to hide. It was hidden from the view of my pack as well. I was going to stay here until the battle ended, unless Eric or Tristan looked like they were not going to win whatever fight they were in. I would break my cover and get into all sorts of trouble to save them too, because they really are all I have left. I knew that I would be in so much trouble if I joined the battle, but I really didn't care. Eric is really the only family I have left, the only connection I have to my mother. Tristan is my last friend in this pack. I would do a great many things for them, and that include taking the beating I will get for joining the fight without the Alpha's consent. Zira had been pacing inside my mind from the moment we arrived. I thought it was just the nervousness of watching our brother wait for this attack that will soon be coming. I figured it would stop soon, but it never did. She kept pacing about, so I had to ask, "What the hell is wrong with you, Zira?"
I don't like the quiet before battles. It is too creepy. Sets me on the edge. You can sense the wolves that are masking their scent, but there is one with them.
She replied. "What about them?" I inquired. I already know what it was about.
I think one of them is our mate.
She whispered. "I know, I can smell him, but I can't think about that right now." I replied. I really couldn't think about that right now.
Why? Our mate could help us.
She asked. "Because our brother and best friend are on that battlefield over there, readying themselves to battle it out against a far greater and stronger pack, and you know it. I just want to prevent this battle," I responded. Before we could say anything further, Blood Moon wolves emerged from the trees opposite my pack. There weren't many Blood Moon warriors. We had 1,000 strong, but Blood Moon showed up with half that, which made me wonder what they were planning. I knew that there was far more Blood Moon warriors, but Blood Moon is known for beginning their warriors fighting training at the age of 10, and for trading the most feared warriors in our entire world. Wolves from all over the world look up to them, and even feared them. Raven shifted back into his human form, and a werewolf from the Blood Moon pack shifted back into his human form. I assumed it was the Alpha. That was until Raven shook his head and growled.
Can't your Alpha face me like a man? Or is he too much of a coward?
Oh, my Alpha's close by. He's certainly no coward. He just wanted to be a bit more of a fair fight for you and your pack. After all, look at you.
The man replied.
I know you. You're Beta Briggs, whose mate is human. How weak you must be to have a human for a mate.
Alpha Raven taunted. That Beta's mate is human. I have never ever heard of that happening. I mean, I know that werewolves can have human mates, but in Blue Moon, it is highly frowned upon. Many parents whose child finds out that their fated mate is human either force their child to reject their mate or kill the human themselves in a random animal attack. Or at least that is what the humans would call it. But it was werewolf parents killing their child's mate, because that was their way. It was an ancient practice to keep werewolf bloodlines pure. But thanks to the modern science, it was discovered that having a werewolf and human parent didn't mean you were any weaker than a wolf with 2 werewolf parents.
Such archaic beliefs, Raven. Will you even learn? We're in the modern era now. But yeah, my mate's human. She's probably far more trained than any of the females in your pack. I don't see any of your females here. They certainly would have strengthened this pathetic excuse for an army.
The wolf called Beta Biggs said,
That is because we protect our females and fight our own battles. It is not archaic for us werewolves.
Alpha Raven growled. He was right. It was not an archaic concept for us werewolves. Women oppression for humans stopped over 100 years ago, but for us, she-wolves, it is only the last 30 years that we were encouraged to step out of being housewives and were able to go out and join the warrior training, fight in battles, become pack doctors. My mother was apparently one of the women who fought against the she-wolves' oppression. Honestly, that made me so proud of her. But how she could mate with my father, knowing what he is, I don't know. I know I couldn't. I also know that if she hadn't, then I wouldn't be here. Neither would my brother.
The sun is setting. Shall we agree that this battle will be over by dark? After that, we call a truce and collect our wounded and dead.
he suggested. Alpha Raven nodded. Now I know that it sounds strange to set a time to end a battle, but we really can't risk our battles being spotted by humans. So we limit the larger battles to at most an hour. 1, to avoid humans seeing our kind, especially considering how they treat animals, and even their own kinds at times. 2, because we have to be careful with fighting at night. Because of the blood that can be spilt during the battles, it can attract vampires. We don't need to be fighting on 2 fronts. Plus, 90% of the time our battles are over within 30 minutes, just because of the sheer carnage we can cause single-handedly. We have rules of warfare, rules that should be followed by all, because they're in place to ensure security of our kind from all humans. They have been in place for hundreds of years to protect us from the humans. They came into place around the Salem witch trials. Many werewolves died right along witches back then. It was a dark time for the supernatural kind. We have been hiding in small villages and in some larger cities for centuries. Many of us would have careers in the larger cities. I think Blood Moon owns an international company that has its hands in a lot of sectors, but I don't know much else other than that. Blue Moon owns a security company that only the men are allowed to work for. Women are not allowed to work in our pack. We have to learn the housewife duties. Thankfully, James and many of the younger males in our pack didn't agree with that way of life. Many of the adult males didn't either, but Alpha Raven did, so it had to be our way. Heartbroken, bartered, but loved. Chapter 4. Alexandra's point of view. Alpha Raven shifted into his wolf just like the Blood Moon Beta shifted. They both let out an almighty howl, which is similar to a human yelling, "Charge!" The 2 sides collided within mere seconds of each other. I struggled to keep sight of my brother, but somehow I managed. He had quite a distinctive fur pattern. His fur is caramel brown all over except for the fur on his ears, snout, and along his underbelly. Those areas were white, like my wolf's fur. It was unique, just like my wolf's fur. White wolves are extremely rare, but it is also very rare for a wolf to have white patches of fur. If they do, it is usually because at least one of the parents was a white wolf. I have seen my dad's wolf. He has dark brown fur, so that left the possibility of my mother. Eric said he never saw Mother in her wolf form. He was told in his letter that her father forbade her from shifting into her wolf form after they were marked and mated. It was something that disappointed us both. It really did. He would have loved to see her in her wolf form. I would have just loved to meet her, to get to know her. I kept my eyes completely focused on the battle when I finally spotted Eric in the battlefield. He was right in the middle of the battlefield. He was fighting really well. Wolves that came into contact with him either went flying or had to retreat. That was until 3 wolves jumped on top of him. I nearly jumped in to save him, but he threw 2 of the wolves off of him and snapped the hind leg of the 3rd wolf with his powerful jaws, which made the wolf stumble away. When those 3 wolves attacked, Eric said in a mind link to me,
Stay where you are.
He knew I was watching, and I knew he was trying to tell me that he had this fight. I've seen him take on 6 people before, but these Blood Moon warriors are far different than Blue Moon. They look like they have undergone an extensive training regime. Many of them were pure muscle, much like my brother. Honestly, their muscles were huge compared to most of the men in my pack. I can imagine what Kaylee would say. Tristan was doing fairly well. This was his first battle. He has really never been tested in a battle situation before. He hadn't even been on his first patrol yet. So he was staying quite close to my brother, which I didn't mind. His wolf was blonde. I just hope my brother watching Tristan's back doesn't get him killed. But I also hope that Tristan doesn't get killed either. For a moment we looked like we would win, with 2 alphas and 2 betas fighting, but that soon changed. Another wave of Blood Moon warriors came charging from the tree line they had originally come from. Then I heard it. A branch snapped to the right of me. My head snapped into that direction as Zira yipped.
Our mate is coming! Our mate is coming!
You sound like a broken record. I shook my head at her, knowing we needed to hide. I spotted movement coming closer to me. Figures of other warriors would be spotted in the distance, appearing from behind the trees. They may or may not have seen me, but I didn't care. I had to try to hide. I immediately climbed up the tree that I was standing near while I was watching the battle. I had to climb the tree and get out of sight of what was coming towards me. I climbed the tree to the point where I would be out of sight from those passing below, but I would also be able to witness more of the battle. I decided it was best that I tell Eric. "Eric, they're going to flank you. They're about to pass me," I told Eric in our mind link to each other.
We will be ready.
He replied. I could hear him making up a little lie to Alpha Raven in his mind link that he saw movement in the trees and they were going to flank them. It was the smart thing to do. He couldn't reveal that I was here hiding out and that I saw the extra warriors from Blood Moon trying to flank Blue Moon's position. My eyes darted back and forth from the battlefield and the ground below me. I could hear footsteps, though very quiet, getting closer to me. I sniffed the air, and that is when I smelled it. It was the most divine smell I had ever smelt. It was an earthy smell, very masculine. A figure appeared at the bottom of the tree. He stopped and sniffed the air. I could only see his hair at that point. It was a classic combed back with fade haircut. I learned about a lot of male haircuts and how to do them as I cut both Eric and Tristan's hair. His hair was black. I could tell he was tall and very broad shoulders, with a lot of muscle on them. He was shirtless, just in a pair of basketball shorts. He was holding a moonflower, something that is very important to the werewolf world. If one were to walk out on the field with one, the entire battle had to stop. It was the rules. The flower itself is almost like catnip to our kind. When we catch scent of it during any aggressive assault, we instantly grind to a halt. It makes us stop fighting. I just had to hope that Alpha Raven would follow the rules of engagement, because honestly, he does not like following rules, even ones that he created. That is how much of a pathetic excuse of an alpha Theodore Raven was. The man signaled for the warriors to keep going. He whispered to a warrior something I could just about hear.
Beta Travis, lead the troops and flank Blue Moon. Someone is up in the tree. Someone that is my mate.
Honestly, how many betas do Blood Moon have? Blue Moon only has one beta. The warriors moved off, following the lead of the wolf, who was called Beta Travis. I was thankfully hidden in the leaves of the tree, but he looked up at me. He could scent exactly where I was, so it was useless hiding from him. For the first time, I could see his face. He was so handsome. His face was chiseled and covered in a designer stubble. His eyes were dark brown and mysterious. He had a devilishly handsome smirk on his face. He looked a lot older than me. I could just about see the muscles of his chest and abs. They were defined. I could see hair on his chest. It was well groomed. From my bird's eye view, he looked like a living, breathing god. He was so very godlike. As he stared in my direction, a shiver ran down my spine.
He is our mate. He is an alpha. He commanded that beta. You saw.
Yipped Zira. I knew she was speaking the truth, and honestly, I couldn't believe it for a moment. The alpha of Blood Moon is my mate. I am fated to be his Luna, to be the Luna of Blood Moon. It left me with questions. What the hell would he think of me? Would he think I'm unworthy of being his Luna? Would he reject me because of who my father is? Would he do right by me? Would he love me for who I am? If he accepts me, how soon would he want marriage and children? How many kids would he want? Would the age gap affect us? He's 28 years old. I'm 19 in a few weeks. That is a 9 to 10-year age gap, as I am not sure when his birthday is. He's most likely experienced in the bedroom department, something I am not. What would he think about that? Most importantly, would he help me save the people I care about? His smirk grew wider, but he also looked a little impatient. A typical alpha trait, or is it male trait? He called out,
I know you're up there. I can smell you. Not to mention feel the tingles everywhere you look at me. Why don't you come down? Heartbroken, bartered, but loved. Chapter 5. Nicholas's POV. After years of trying to search for my mate and never finding her, I had decided to give up. I had only come to the decision in the past day. Rumors soon spread of my decision, and girls have been throwing themselves at me. But my wolf tightened and I hated it. The most persistent has been Ruby. She is 26, and like me, has yet to find her actual mate. She was a nice and sweet woman, and good in bed, but not the best. I had slept with her once back when I was 20 and reckless, when my dad died just after I turned 21. I cut the recklessness out and became alpha. I had my heart set on finding my mate. But after 7 years of failing, I just wanted to have a Luna sat by my side. Someone who I could love and have an heir with. Ruby was a nice woman, and I could see her leading my pack with me. I spoke with my mother and sister about it, but they both seemed to be against it, which made me confused. So I decided to hold off for a while, until they came around. I didn't want to fight a war on 2 different fronts. For the past 2 years, I have been investigating Blue Moon Pack, under orders from the Lycan Council. Apparently, there had been a lot of unknown disappearances in the pack. It was reported to the Lycan Council by families of she-wolves who had joined the pack because that was where they found their fated mates. Some never heard from the she-wolves and their children again. We are talking about complete disappearances. An entire household just gone. No death certificates. No responses from Alpha Raven. Nothing. I considered doing a surprise inspection on Blue Moon, but from what I could recall of Alpha Raven and his beta, they are too stuck in the Stone Ages. They do not like surprises, especially when they came from the Lycan Council. I did at one point wonder whether my mate would be in that poor pack, because I had never stepped foot in that place. Mostly because they hated my pack forever. Just for being bigger and having the Lycan Council's support in a great many things. I had managed to get my hands on information detailing offshore accounts and hidden bank accounts here in this country that not even the Lycan Council are aware of. Some of the amounts in these accounts total in the millions, which makes me wonder if they were into illegal things. I tried to track the money, find out who was giving them that money and why, but that turned up a major dead end. One of my betas, Daniel Biggs, his mate is human, and her brother is in a band that travels the country. He knows what we are, and has been sworn to secrecy. I trust him because he and his sister never had a real family. They were living on the streets, had been for a few days. They had nowhere to go until Daniel found them. Anyway, Nigel traveled into Blue Moon territory, and every bar he played in had some kind of vampire activity, something that is unusual on Werewolf Pack lands. Usually, there is at most 1 or 2 bars, and normally it is the Alpha's job to run the vampires off their lands. It is why I have 3 betas. They each have an area, like myself, to maintain and check for vampires. So it left the question of why he was letting them stay and run all the bars. It was a crime to work with our enemy. Vampires are our natural enemies, something we could work together to negate. But they wanted things their way, and more importantly, their king was trying to destroy us. He has been for centuries. Because we are the only ones strong enough to face the vampires and protect the humans from being enslaved by the vampires. I hate vampires because they were involved in the death of my father. Though it had never been proven, I still have my suspicions. Today, I was working quietly in my office. I had been awake since yesterday, trying to think of other ways we could get into the Blue Moon territory undetected. It was at times almost impossible to get in there undetected. The only way we have been able to get in there is through my beta's mate's brother and his band. We have even tried disguising ourselves to appear like we are rogues. But I think the border is being watched by not only werewolves, but vampires as well. I don't know how the vampires managed it, but they figured out a way to walk in the sun. A few hundred years ago, that was not possible. No one knew how the vampires were able to walk in the sun. Beta Travis, my only unmated beta, pushed a mind link open between us and my other two betas before he said,
We have a problem. Jules is en route, but one of our pack members had been attacked. He's badly wounded. I'm trying my hardest to stop the bleeding, but you better get here quick. We're all along the border with Blue Moon, near the swamp.
On my way, I said in the mind link, before cutting it off. I moved across my office to the glass doors to my office's balcony. I threw them open and jumped down from the balcony. I landed down on my feet. I began to run down toward the border. I shifted mid-run into my wolf titan. I allowed him to take control, because the moment he took full control, he took off running. He charged to the border at full speed. His fur is black. Our sister used to say that we were blacker than the night sky. Titan was concerned with the health of our pack member at the moment. I suspected that it was Andy. His mother and father died in a horrific plane crash 10 years ago. His last family lived in Blue Moon. His mother's sister found her fated mate in Blue Moon, and they had a boy and girl together. That is all the family Andy has left. He is 25, and still hasn't found his mate. But a few months back, he was told that they had been killed in a rogue attack. Something felt off about it. There were no details, no bodies, no funerals. Running at the supernatural speed of a werewolf had its benefits. A 12-hour car journey could be ran by werewolves in 3 hours. That was how fast we could run. The only downside was it took a lot of energy out of us. It is part of the reason why we are always eating, or at least having very large meals. The border was a 6-hour car journey from our pack house, which only took me an hour and a half to run in my werewolf form. I arrived at the border, finding Jules, the pack doctor, and Travis, my beta, immediately. Andy was laying bloodied and beaten to a pulp. He was slashed across the gut. Jules was working hard on trying to heal him. I shifted back and crouched down next to Andy. We were all naked, even Jules. She was never embarrassed about her nudity, even now that she is in her 50s. Nudity in our pack was pretty normal. It is even more common across the wider werewolf community. He was aware. I was worried. How is he, Jules? I asked.
He is healing slowly, but he will be okay. He just needs time to heal and rest.
She replied.
I will be okay.
Andy choked. What happened? I asked him.
Blue Moon Beta crossed the border and attacked me while I was patrolling along the border.
He replied. That is an act of war, I growled.
Did the attack happen right here?
Travis inquired. Andy nodded. That was it. I stood up and opened a mind link to my entire pack. Blue Moon has crossed a line. Their beta has brutally attacked one of our pack members. Prepare for war. Meeting me at the border, I want 1,000 warriors. All 3 of my betas. Move now. You have an hour and a half. I growled into the mind link before closing it off. Heartbroken, bartered, but loved. Chapter 6. Nicholas's POV. An hour and a half passed, and my warriors arrived with my other 2 betas. We made our move and crossed the border. We charged across. It would take us a good few hours to get near the pack house, but I suspect that Blue Moon plans to meet us in a clearing somewhere. So we will split into 4 teams and flank them. It was the smartest thing we could do. I opened a mind link to everyone and said, "Right. Listen up, here is the plan. Beta Daniel Biggs, you will emerge into the clearing that they have no doubt chosen for the battle with a group of warriors. I will hold back a group behind you, but hidden. Beta Travis Oakland, you will lead a group which I will eventually join down the left side and flank them. Beta Eddie Lockhart, you will lead a group down the right side and flank them. We will divide into our usual groups, like the ones when we practice our battle tactics."
Yes, Alpha!
Rang out in my mind link from every single one of my warriors. As we arrived at the battlefield that Blue Moon had chosen, I paused to survey the battlefield before giving the go-ahead to Daniel and his team. I heard Blue Moon's Alpha call me a coward. He was stupid if he thought that. I am just patient, and not like most alphas of at least the older ones. I don't react on my emotions like they do. Well, at least I haven't reacted on my emotions yet. I think first. That, for the most part, made me a stronger alpha, and caught the attention of the king of the Lycan Council. He has become a good friend since I became alpha, which is part of the reason I have trusted to investigate Blue Moon. The other being, my pack was far larger. It also made the Blue Moon Alpha and Beta hate me, because I was favored by the one man who could give me a legal go-ahead to destroy them, even if they had done nothing wrong. Though we were upwind, and Blue Moon had the advantage of scent, they could smell us coming. But even upwind, I could still smell a lot. Alpha senses are naturally stronger than the average werewolf. One scent I could smell above the rest. It was divine, and very distracting. Then when I heard Daniel say that he could not see any female warriors in the Blue Moon ranks. So why could I smell one?
You know who that smell belongs to,
Titan whispered in my mind as he began pacing. I know. Our mate. I just don't understand why a woman from their pack is hiding nearby, I whispered to him.
Well, maybe someone she loves is on that battlefield,
Titan replied. That instantly pissed me off. Who could she love that wasn't her mate? I growled. What is that supposed to mean?
Maybe her father or brother or cousin is on the battlefield, dipshit.
He chuckled. I shook my head. Yes, my own wolf talks to me like a piece of shit sometimes. We're both eager to meet her. And I am eager to know why she is hiding and not fighting. She is brave enough to be this close to a battle. I know Blue Moon are very old school, or at least the Alpha and his bloodline are. No one is allowed to go against the Alpha. His word of women not fighting was to be held above all. So she could get into major trouble being here, if he finds out. I heard that the women in that pack couldn't fight. So would she be able to be a Luna of a warrior pack, like mine? I have to admit that I had a lot of questions. I was interested in her. It was time for phase 2 of the plan. We all shifted back and threw on basketball shorts that had been brought with us. And I grabbed the moonflower that had been brought with us. I could use the flower to stop the fighting, call a truce, if you will. It was werewolf law. We split into the 3 teams that I instructed them to do. I strolled off, leading Travis and his team down the left side, the right side for the blue moon. It was where that divine scent was coming from. As we walked down, I opened a private mind link to Travis. We are currently heading towards my mate. I can smell her. She's hiding in these woods. I think she is watching the battle.
We won't attack anyone unless you give the word. And hey, congratulations! I'm gonna be the only bachelor in the pack house, but congratulations, I'm happy for you.
He replied in the mind link. Thanks. I am just dreading the fact that she might very well be from Blue Moon, I said to him in the mind link.
What are you going to do?
Travis asked in the mind link. I don't know, I replied, before cutting the mind link off. The battle began as the 2 teams prepared to flank, while the second wave prepared to enter the battlefield. As they entered, I caught my first glimpse of the most beautiful creature I had ever laid my eyes. Titan began howling in my mind.
Mate. She's our mate.
Titan howled. Of course I knew that. I could see her worried expression. Her eyes were focused on the battlefield. Her eyes darted in our direction before she disappeared. I figured she must have tried to climb a tree. So she had to be athletic to climb a tree like that. From what I saw of her, she wasn't too tall, but she was slender, but curvy. She had wavy brown hair. I think her eyes were blue. She was so beautiful. I wanted to see more of her. We kept walking until we reached the tree she was standing at. I sniffed the air and caught her scent. She was above me, hiding in the tree. I stopped. So did everyone else. I signaled for Travis to come and stand next to me. I whispered in his ear, knowing full well that my mate will hear everything that I say. Beta Travis, lead the troops and flank Blue Moon. Someone is up in the tree. Someone that is my mate. Travis nodded and signaled the troops to follow him. Once they had all walked past me, I looked up directly at my beautiful little mate, who was hiding from me. I had to admit, that did excite me. Being an alpha, I love the thrill of the chase. I was transfixed on her, hidden partially behind the leaves of the tree that she had climbed. This close, she had the beauty of a true Luna. She clearly had the dominance and strength that the other women in her pack sorely lacked, due to their alpha's women's suppression thing. I noticed that her eyes were darting all over my body. She was also trying to remain focused on the battle. Who was so important that she would try to ignore the first meeting between fated mates? Was she worried for her pack? Even though it will never be her pack again? There was something about her, a certain strength in her aura, something that made her powerful. She had secrets, which I look forward to unlocking. I couldn't help the smirk on my face. I wanted to stop the battle behind me, just so that I could hold her attention captive for a few hours. But something in her eyes told me she was worried, angry, and upset. Something that was either going to break my heart or be incredibly difficult to deal with. But first, I had to know what my gorgeous mate's name is. I just have to get her to come down first. I have to admit, I was feeling a little impatient.
Call her down.
Titan pleaded in my mind. I smirked up at her. I know you were up there. I can smell you. Not to mention feel the tingles everywhere you look at me. Why don't you come down? Her eyes snapped to mine, and she froze. She didn't want to come down. Or was she afraid to come down? Maybe she was worried about it, what I would think of her. Was who she is really that bad? Or was it to do with her family or her pack? She comes from Blue Moon after all. I just had to hope that she would come down any minute now, or I might not be able to hold Titan back any longer. He was getting extremely impatient to meet her. So was I, in all honesty. Plus, I needed to give the signal to my men to attack. And I also needed to enter the battlefield and stop the fighting. Find a truce to this fight. The only one we have is Alpha Raven's complete and utter surrender. Maybe my mate could provide some helpful information in regards to their surrender, or at least a peaceful resolution for the unjust attack on my pack member.
Heartbroken, bartered, but loved. Chapter 7. Alexandra's point of view. Watching how impatient he was becoming actually excited me. It filled me with a sense of hope that he wanted to get to know me, that he wanted me. I smiled at him before jumping down from the tree. I was fully prepared to land on the ground in a squatting position, but he had other ideas. He caught me, wrapping his arms around my waist. Sparks traveled all over my body from where his arms were around my waist. Our eyes were locked on each other. He was by far the most handsome man I had ever encountered. We both gulped as he lowered me down onto the ground. He smiled down at me. There was certainly a height difference. He was a lot taller than me. He held me against him until I realized that I hadn't been watching the battle. I shoved him off of me and turned in a bit of a panic to watch the battle. I found my brother in the middle of the battle. He was doing well in the fight. The godlike Alpha behind me scoffed.
So, you pushed me away, your fated mate, to find someone fighting in that battle. Do you love him?
Of course I love him. He's my brother. He's the only family I really have except for my scumbag of a father, I replied. He breathed a sigh of relief because the person I was watching wasn't someone I loved in the way he thought. He was glad that it was family that I was trying to watch over.
What is your name?
He asked as I turned slightly to look at him. I'm Alexandra Rose Blake, daughter of Beta Blake the Jackass, Beta of Blue Moon. There is no need to ask you your name. You're Alpha Nicholas Carter of Blood Moon. I responded, my eyes downcast. I felt a little ashamed by who my father is. In our world, one should be proud of who their father is, especially if they had a title in a pack. But I had no reason to be proud of my father. Not after everything he has done and everything he's planning to do. My eyes were downcast, so all I could see was the ground until his feet came into view. His hand reached up and gripped my chin, gently lifting my chin up to meet his face.
Don't give me that look. You're too beautiful to look ashamed.
He whispered. Let's just say if you knew half of what was going on in Blue Moon that my father was involved in, then you would be ashamed too. I whispered.
Then why don't you tell me? Maybe I could help.
Nicholas said. There's too much to tell right now, or to even show you, I responded. His brow furrowed.
You have proof of what he has done.
I nodded. Yes, and I was going to run away today so I could give the proof to the Lycan Council.
Give it to me. I have orders from the Lycan Council to investigate Blue Moon. Getting there is too dangerous right now.
he said. What do you mean getting there is too dangerous? I asked. He sighed.
The Lycan Council had been attacked multiple times by vampires.
That is in the... I began, my jaw dropping a little.
The what?
He asked. The paperwork my brother and I found. There is so much to tell you about, I whispered.
Then why don't you tell me?
He said. My eyes darted back towards the battle as the warriors that had passed me charged into the fray of battle. I growled. You ordered more troops in? I backed away from feeling like the mate bond was the reason I trusted him so easily. He grabbed my arm and stopped me from leaving as he said,
I didn't. But my betas knew my plan, so they would have followed my last orders without hearing me.
Why didn't you stop them? My brother is in there, I whispered.
I know, I should have. Look, I'm going to walk out there with this. I will stop this battle.
He replied. Listen, if you go out there, Raven won't stick to the wolf laws. Be warned. He wants to have things his way or the highway. Call for a meeting and exchange peace for me. Say if you can have me as a breeder, then you will leave Blue Moon in peace and won't destroy the entire pack. I told him. He growled.
I will not call my mate a breeder. Ever.
And if you call me your mate, then you will never have me. I was due to be put into lockdown tomorrow. I would never be leaving until they ship me off to who they want me to mate with. The only way to keep me safe and to keep me with you is to make out like you want me for greed, because they hate me. My father hates me. Raven hates me for proving to the other women that we have the strength to fight. I am the only female warrior in the pack, and yet they still refuse to let me fight. Misogynistic bastards, I replied.
Fine. I will call you that during the meeting. I will also act like I have never even seen you before in my life.
He smiled. You have a really nice smile. Just when you see me again, be prepared for me to act like a raging bitch. It will be an act. I want to go with you. I just need them to think that I don't. I smiled. He nodded.
All right. I will do as you say.
I nodded, turning to look back at the ongoing battle. That was when I saw my brother get taken down and a wolf slash at his underbelly. I instantly became worried. Nicholas noticed. He asked,
What is it?
Just do stop the fight in a moment unless you want me to get hurt, I replied before charging from the trees, shifting mid-run. Now in our wolf form, I took a seat in my own mind and allowed my wolf Zira to take full control. She looked back at our mate for a second. His jaw dropped. We charged straight into battle. A wolf charged at us, but Zira held back no punches. We had to get to our brother, who had managed to throw the wolf off him, but was badly wounded. Tristan had jumped in to protect him. The wolf that charged at us was thrown to the side like he weighed nothing. Another wolf attacked Tristan, distracting him long enough for another wolf to get close to my brother, who had now shifted back, which pissed us off all the more. I felt my father open a mind link to me and growled,
You stupid girl. I told you to stay behind and guard the other women.
We just snarled back in the mind link before cutting it off. As we tackled the wolf who was approaching my brother, we sunk our teeth into the back of his neck before turning my entire body around and throwing the wolf into other Blood Moon warriors, our white fur now speckled with blood. Zira and I let out an almighty roar, one that made everyone shake internally. Eric was laying on the floor trying to press his hands against the bloody gouges across his body. Zira let out a whine as we approached him. Zira nuzzled his face as he opened a mind link to us, as said,
I'm fine, already healing. You shouldn't have charged in like that, but I'm grateful you did. Thank you, baby sister.
Only Eric and I were in this mind link, so I said, You don't even know the half of it. Alpha Nicholas is my fated mate. I just saw him in the woods. He's gonna stop the fighting and try and barter peace from me.
Then you can leave with him and get that information into the right hands.
Eric replied, Heartbroken, bartered, but loved. Chapter 8. Alexandra's point of view. Suddenly, there was a snarl behind me. The warrior from Blood Moon that I had thrown away from my brother was there, snarling, readying to attack me. I turned to face him, protecting my brother, but suddenly a black wolf, one with brown patches, attacked that warrior from Blood Moon. I recognized him all too well. It was James, future alpha of Blood Moon, and my cheating swine of an ex. He saved me from having to fight. James forced a mind link open with everyone and told them to form a circle around us and the other wounded. A good move for an alpha, but he was a future alpha, so his father was of course pissed when everyone followed exactly what his son had said. The Blood Moon warriors circled around us. I stayed near my brother, Eric, who was laying on the floor still. His wounds were knitting back together. Zira nuzzled Eric. A brown wolf approached us. It was my father. He shifted back and ran to Eric.
Are you okay, son? Alexandra, you broke orders and came here and joined this fight. You will be punished for disobedience.
Dad growled the last part towards me.
Leave her alone, Dad. If it wasn't for her barreling into this battle, I'd be dead. Your heir, dead, but she saved me. So you can't punish her. She just proved that women can fight, and that our pack needs to change with the times.
Eric growled back.
I thought you were almost ready to take over from me as Beta, but what you just said proved exactly what I needed to know. You are not ready. We do not allow women to fight in our pack. Alexandra will be punished, and I will think of the best kind of punishment.
Dad responded. Eric and I growled at him. Before he could respond, I shivered a little, which I hide well. I knew Nicholas was close by. All of the Blood Moon warriors howled, along with their alpha. Blood Moon warriors were encircled around us. There was at least 3 rows of them. Nicholas appeared, holding the moonflower. My breathing hitched when our eyes met. He had this devilishly handsome smirk on his face that made my heart melt. It was hard for Zira and even myself to stay stoic, but we managed it. Raven shifted back. He was pissed. He glared at me before turning to stare down Nicholas.
Well, if it isn't the infamous Alpha Nicholas Carter. About time you manned up and joined the battlefield.
Raven's sarcastic tone echoed in the woods.
Alpha Raven, you know as well as I that an Alpha's duty is to protect and lead his people. Yes, you could say that I should be in the fight based on that notion. But I know that my people are strong enough to win a battle without my help. Either way, your Beta broke the law. My pack member was sat at the border waiting to catch a glimpse of you or your stupid Beta, just to ask you where his aunt and her entire family had gone. They disappeared from your pack. And as an Alpha, you should not be defending them. Though I believe you claimed that they had been killed by rogues. My question is, how the hell did rogues get so close to your pack members' homes for them to be killed? I would never let them get that close to any of my pack members' homes. Yet rather than your Beta stopping to talk with them, he attacked them, leaving him for dead, crossing onto my lands.
Nicholas responded. Raven paused. He looked a little surprised. It looked like he was faking it.
Well, I certainly didn't know that was the case. I will have to speak with my Beta to do with it.
If he has lied to you and brought this battle down on your pack, I sure hope you will punish him greatly for his actions. He essentially has started a war. I have every legal right to continue this battle, kill everyone here, and then go to your pack house and have every she-wolf and child in the pack house killed, all because your Beta was an idiot and started a war.
Nicholas said, raising an eyebrow.
Watch your mouth, boy.
Growled Dad as all eyes snapped to him. Nicholas snarled at him, his werewolf's eyes appearing. But before Nicholas could respond to the pathetic Beta, Raven growled at my dad.
You shut your mouth!
Raven turned back to face Nicholas and asked,
What do you want, Alpha Nicholas?
I want a meeting in private with you, your family, your beta, and his family. After all, you and your beta's children have to learn to deal with meetings such as these. We decided a way for me to halt this war. I will leave my troops here with one of my betas. I have 2 other betas who will come with me. But I have another army of 1,000 warriors waiting at the border for the word to cross. If anything happens to me or my 2 betas, that will come with you back to your pack house for this private meeting, then my 3rd beta will attack with all the warriors here, calling the 1,000 warriors at the border to come here immediately. Once we have come to an agreement on what you are willing to give me in exchange for me not destroying your pack, killing your pack members, and burning your homes to the ground.
Nicholas smirked. I smiled inside, knowing he was following my plan, even though he had no reason to trust me, especially considering who my father is and what my father had done to his pack member, who I think was related to Kaylee and her family. I knew I had to tell him at some point. There was a long silence, I guess, while Raven tried to think and plan out what he could do next, or to gauge what Nicholas would ask for. It just made Nicholas smirk. He chuckled. It made him almost appear evil, but I found it attractive. Nicholas said,
Well then, Alpha Raven, what is your decision? Look around. Your male warriors cannot stand another fight.
Raven's eyes narrowed on Nicholas and growled,
Fine. We will call a truce and have this meeting.
Good. Lead the way.
Nicholas said.
Warriors, gather our wounded and dead, and let's get home.
Raven shouted. Dad turned to me and growled,
Don't you shift back until you get home. Take Eric, go home, get clothes on, and get back to the pack house. You have 30 minutes. If you think you're really ready enough to battle, doing that should be a piece of cake.
Zira and I growled back before laying down on our belly next to Eric and mind-linked him, saying, Eric, climb on. I'm gonna run you home, so hold on tight, and don't pull Zira's fur out. She'll bite you.
I know, sis. I won't.
Eric replied in our mind link. Eric climbed onto our back. Zira turned her head to make sure that he had climbed on properly, and our eyes locked on Nicholas. He was watching us, but he was scanning the surroundings too to make it look like he wasn't watching me. Eric chuckled in our mind link.
I can't believe he's your mate. He will squish you. He has to be a foot taller than you. And then look at the size of his muscles. You're a stick compared to him.
Eric said in the mind link. I can't believe it either, but I'm glad that I'll have a better way to get away from here. He's gonna use the meeting to barter peace in exchange for me. I told him to say breeder, so don't be mad at him. I replied in the mind link.
Good. Now let's get home so we can get dressed. Run fast.
He smirked in our mind link. He didn't have to tell Zira and I twice. The moment she heard him say that, she ran at full speed back to our home, which wasn't far from the pack house. Thankfully, Eric's wound had healed over before he climbed onto my back. I will say that I might have some blood on me when I get home. I was running faster than I ever had because I was eager to get home and wash and change so I could get to the pack house and see my mate again. Nicholas did everything I told him to do, and that filled me with a sense of hope. He actually wanted me. I know I am his fated mate, but he actually wanted me, even with knowing who my father is. I guess we will see how he is after he finds out just how fully involved in criminal activities my father is. I do hope he will keep me around. Then there is this whole surprised look everyone in Blood Moon had in seeing me, a white wolf. Nicholas was very surprised, which made me wonder why. Could it have something to do with my mother's side of the family? Eric had no memories of ever meeting any of our mother's side of the family, so could the white wolf genes come from her side of the family? Did we have more family out there? I guess I would have to find out from Nicholas and tell Eric what I find out, because we both would love to have more family. Despite everything, we have only truly had each other since our mother died. I raced home with Eric on my back. We got there within minutes, That is how hard and fast I ran. I decided I would have a quick shower, wash the blood off. Eric did the same. Then we changed in our separate bedrooms, then headed back to the pack house for this meeting. I was eager to see my mate, but I had to suppress this eagerness and prepare to be a complete and utter bitch.
Heartbroken, bartered, but loved. Chapter 9. Nicholas's POV. I was so very surprised when I saw my mate shift into a white wolf and charge into battle to save her brother. I couldn't believe my mate was a white wolf. Besides the Queen of the Lycan Council and others in her ancestry, I do not know any other white wolf bloodlines. So could it be that she is related to the Queen in some way? I could see some similarities. When Raven agreed to the truce so we could have a meeting, I was glad that my little mate's suggestion was working. I couldn't help but watch her strength as she carried her brother off. I mean, I didn't like his naked body touching a wolf, but he has been wounded and was healing. Nudity was a common thing in our world. I could tell her wolf was keeping her eyes either low to the ground or on faces of men who had shifted into their human forms. Before I followed with Raven, I opened a mind link to my betas. Daniel, can you contact your mate's brother? Get him to hire a car to come and collect us from Blue Moon. I will get the address for you to give to him. Travis and Eddie, you're with me.
Why do you need a car to collect you?
Daniel asked in the mind link. The White Wolf. She is my fated mate. She is also the daughter of that beta. The only way we can be together is if she either runs away with the information we need on Blue Moon, or I make a deal I will leave Blue Moon alone, in exchange for me having her, in her words, as a breeder. We spoke in the trees about it. I replied in the mind link.
Can we trust her?
Eddie inquired in our mind link. I believe so. I think she is abused by him. She thinks she is in danger. She is also ashamed that he is her father. I could see the hatred in her eyes when she speaks about him, and I could see the fear, though she tried to hide it. I can't let her stay here. My wolf won't allow it, I said in our mind link.
We will stand by you. How old is she? She didn't look very old.
Travis asked. We didn't really have much time to talk and get to know each other. I have her name and who her father is. The one she was watching before she charged out to save that man. That is her brother. I also know she had information and proof she was going to run away and take to the Lycan Council. But this war prevented her from running away. I replied. Our mind link was interrupted by none other than Alpha Raven. He approached me and said,
Are you and your two betas ready to follow us back to our pack house for the meeting you requested?
We are ready, Alpha Raven, I responded, clutching the moonflower in hand. I knew he wouldn't dare attack either myself nor my betas if I still held the flower. Our wolves won't allow the human part of us to attack. I nodded at my betas, and we followed Alpha Raven back to his pack house. I could still scent my mate in the air. And honestly, it calmed me from ripping this Alpha's throat out, and her father's throat too, for whatever he has done to her. I wanted to know what she had been through, and at the same time, I wanted to try to protect her from ever having to endure heartache again. Titan growled inside my head.
I do too. I want to know what he's done to her to make her hate him. If they refuse to let you have her, threaten to destroy them all, we cannot let her stay with him.
She will come home with us. You have my word on that, I replied to Titan, inside my head. It wasn't long before we arrived back at the pack house. This entire pack was in shambles. The pack house was extravagant, but the other houses we saw up there were either in a state of disrepair or were just barely worthy enough to call a home. How could these pack members accept how he is treating them? All my pack members live in comfort. None of them have houses that look like this. It was a disgrace for an alpha to allow this to happen. When we entered the pack house, I mind-linked Travis and Eddie to warn them. Keep alert. And bear in mind that the girl you're about to see said she is going to act completely different to how she would normally act. So I guess it is to make her father and Raven think she doesn't want to leave with us.
We will bear that in mind.
Travis responded, in the mind link. But Eddie didn't. He is a little more protective against strangers, because his mate is pregnant. So, he is overcautious at the minute, which is why I am letting this slide. Just this once. I am sure that will change once he gets to know Alexandra. She has such a pretty name. I wonder if she likes roses, because it is her middle name. Raven led us into a sitting room. There were 2 black leather couches facing each other near a fireplace. The fire was set by Beta Blake as I walked in with Eddie and Travis on my tail. I sat on the couch, which Raven had gestured to. Eddie and Travis stood behind me like guards. Raven sat down opposite me, trying to stare me down, which would never happen. Another young man walked in. He was the spitting image of his father, so this had to be Raven Jr., the next alpha of Blue Moon. About 5 minutes later, another man walked in, with my mate trailing behind them. I kept my eyes fixed on Raven. I knew he would try to figure me out, and if he saw the way I wanted to look at Alexandra, I may very well ruin things. There was an awkward silence, until Raven started talking.
Well, shall we begin with introductions?
I gave him a single nod. Raven pointed to the first young man to walk in and said,
This is my son, James Raven, future alpha of Blue Moon.
The resemblance is uncanny. Pleasure to meet you, I replied.
And you, Alpha Carter.
James said.
Well, this is my Beta Blake, and his son and daughter, Eric and Alexandra.
Raven gestured toward the Beta, and then to the man that stood close to Alexandra. Pleasure to meet you all. Will your Luna and Beta female be joining us? I inquired. I mostly wanted to gauge the reaction.
Our mates are dead.
Beta Blake snapped. Raven growled at his Beta. James looked sad, but Eric and Alexandra's reaction was interesting. They both glared at their father with a hatred that spoke volumes. They looked like they wanted to beat the crap out of their father, maybe even kill him for something. I guess, in regards to their mother. I would have to ask Alexandra about that later one. Well, these are my Betas, Eddie and Travis, I said, gesturing first to Eddie, then to Travis. Raven just nodded, acknowledging them, before Beta Blake whispered,
Alexandra shouldn't be here.
He may have been talking to himself or to Raven, but everyone heard it. I cocked an eyebrow as I said, Why is that?
She's a woman. She should be at home cooking dinner, away from fighting and politics.
Blake responded. Alexandra's fists clenched, and she went to take a step towards her father. But Eric stopped her, even though he looked pissed. So did James. She growled.
And if I hadn't been on that damn battlefield, you would have lost your own heir to your precious title. Your own son.
I do have to admit your pack does need to come into the 21st century. Women are more capable than you realize, I said.
Well, let's leave that subject for another time and get down to business.
Raven interjected. You were right. We should. I paused, waiting for them to try to offer something.
I can offer money.
Raven suggested. I don't want money. My wealth is already vast. I want your beta to be punished, I replied. Heartbroken, bartered, but loved. Chapter 10. Nicholas's POV.
I won't punish my beta over a simple he said she said case. My beta says your pack member crossed pack boundaries.
Raven responded. Well, Beta Blake, when you attacked my pack member, did you leave him to crawl his way back to my pack territory? I asked him, my eyes narrowing. Blake gulped.
I left him where I beat him to the ground.
That would have meant he would have had to crawl back to our pack territory, and there would have been a trail of blood. There was none. No trail of blood, which means you were lying, and you crossed pack boundaries onto my land. I glared at him.
Even if that is so and he lied, I will not allow you to punish him.
Raven interjected. Fine. Then you must punish him in front of me, I said.
I already said I will not punish him, and I don't like repeating myself.
Raven growled. Very well. I don't like your pack crossing into my land uninvited. I don't like that your beta attacked my pack member, that he lied about it. So if you don't want to punish him, and you won't allow me to punish him, the only way I see for me to leave you and your pack in peace is if I take something from him, I said, as I stared Raven down. I forced out my aura. Everyone was feeling it, and none of them were liking it. They hated it. The only one who didn't seem affected was Alexandra. Raven stared at me, as he said,
And what would you take from him?
his daughter. I need a breeder, I smirked.
You bastard. She's worthy of more than that.
Eric growled, but he never lunged, so it was clear he was faking the rage.
Eric is right. You're not having her. She's staying here with me. She's mine. She will not leave.
James interjected. I bit back my growl, but Alexandra didn't hold back. She growled.
Don't you act like you care now. You're nothing more than a cheating scumbag. I hate you. I will never be yours.
Don't talk to my son like that.
Raven said.
Well, maybe if the scumbag could keep it in his pants, then maybe he wouldn't need to be spoken to like that.
Alexandra whispered.
Lexi.
Eric warned, keeping his voice low. So, she likes being called Lexi for short. That is good to know. She dated James. God, how far she has gone with him. Another thing I would have to ask her. I noticed that Raven and Blake were mind-linking each other. I guess they were discussing my proposition privately. Well, what is your answer, Raven? I said, showing my impatience.
You can't seriously be considering this.
Eric said.
After some thought, you can have the bitch as your breeder. But once she is packed up to leave, you and your pack must leave and not step foot on my land again.
Raven responded to my offer.
Dad, you can't be serious.
James growled.
Shut your mouth, boy. There are plenty more bitches out there. Better ones, too.
Raven said to James.
You can't do this, Raven. You know what will happen.
Blake whispered to Raven. Raven stood up and struck his beta, growling.
Shut your mouth unless you want to be stripped of your title.
Now, what secret would warrant that kind of a threat? I was interested to know what would happen. I knew they wouldn't tell me. I did wonder if Alexandra knew what would happen, or why her father wanted her to stay when it was blatantly obvious that there were no love lost between them. They disliked each other a lot. I think he blames her for something. She and Eric clearly know something about their father that makes them hate him.
I'm not going. I will not be bartered for peace. Because my dad's an arsehole and is probably the only beta in the world that doesn't know where the pack boundaries are.
Alexandra said, crossing her arms across her chest. It made it harder for me to not get distracted by her breasts. Raven growled at her.
I am your alpha, and this is how it will be. Alexandra, you will go home and pack all of your things. You will leave with Alpha Carter today. You will do your duty and spread your damn legs for him. It will keep your pack and family safe.
I am not leaving my family.
She retorted. A fearless one, isn't she? Raven forced out his alpha aura. We all felt it. But it didn't affect Alexandra. I suspect it was because she was a white wolf. Eric was able to fight it off for some time, but he gave in and bowed his head. He wasn't as strong as her.
You will do as you are told. Eric, take your sister home and help her pack. We will be there in 30 minutes. She had best be packed.
Raven roared.
Yes, Alpha.
Eric whispered. He gripped his sister's arm and began to pull her from the room.
No, she's not leaving.
James snarled.
Shut your mouth, boy. Beta Blake, restrain him.
Raven growled. Blake did exactly as instructed.
I won't leave. I hate you all.
Alexandra could be heard shouting as she was pulled from the door. Once Eric and Alexandra were gone, Raven asked,
Will you need a car to get back to your pack with the girls' things?
I have already had my beta call for a car to come and get us, thank you. I do hope that is okay, I replied.
Of course. How did you know I would agree?
He inquired. Well, you really had no choice. Your beta was in the wrong. My attack is legal. It will only stop if my requests or demands are met, I said.
Well, I do hope she won't be difficult for you to breed with. She is a handful.
Raven said. That just pissed James off all the more, and he stormed off from the room, throwing Blake off of him in the process. It made me smirk. I do hope he doesn't run off and try anything with my mate. I looked back at Raven and said, He does have much to learn about how this game is played, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He loves that girl, and he is an idiot for it.
Raven sighed. Well, that girl is now mine to breed with. She is a beauty, so we will certainly produce some good-looking offspring, I smirked. Beta Blake scoffed.
Just don't try to send her back when you're done with her. If you don't want her, you can kill her.
Why would you say that about your own daughter? Not very fatherly, I retorted.
I would have disowned her long ago if she didn't serve a purpose.
He muttered. I shook my head. If you could give your address to my beta so they can get it to the driver, that would be appreciated. Then, will you take me to see my prize? They nodded. Blake gave his address to my betas, and they got it to the driver. While Raven poured me a glass of whiskey, we fell silent. After we had a drink, Raven and Blake showed Eddie, Travis, and I to Blake's home, where Alexandra was with her brother, Eric, trying to pack her stuff. I do hope she was ready. When we arrived, the car was just pulling up, with Daniel's brother-in-law in the driver's seat. Eddie checked on him. We waited around outside after that. I was eager to get my maid out of here. I had much to ask her, and much to figure out about her. I had to know how far she went with that Alpha's brat, because I was to rip his throat out right now. I hated myself for having to call her a breeder. I will make sure to apologize for calling her that. I know she told me, because James was right. She's worth more than just being a breeder. She is worthy of being the Luna of the largest pack in our world. She is smart, strong, and beautiful. She is perfect in every way so far. You can see that she is a true fated Luna, just in the way she holds herself. I just have to make sure that I didn't make it obvious that she is my mate.